Thank you all for joining this first in a series of webinars. We've called this series Peace Talks, and I hope it will be an important forum that we will benefit from through listening and learning from each other. Currently, we envision having Peace Talks on a weekly basis. And in terms of programming, we're envisioning about 5 components or areas of emphasis. One is on occasional featuring of expert speakers who could address in a comprehensive way some of the critical issues that UPF is generally concerned with and is concerned with throughout its other conference series. The second area is to feature the work of UPF's associations. As you know, in recent years, under the leadership of our co-founder, Dr. Hak Jahan Moon, we've built a set of associations, the International Summit Council for Peace for former heads of state, the International Association of Parliamentarians for Peace, for parliamentarians, the International Interreligious Association for Peace and Development, the International Media Association for Peace, the International Association for Economic Development, and the International Association of Academicians for Peace. And we have, in association with ISCP, the Summit Council for Peace, a First Ladies Association, the International Association of First Ladies for Peace. So each of those associations can use this webinar forum as a way to convene programs. So expert speakers, number 1. Number 2, giving opportunity to our various associations to be featured. Thirdly, our regions within our UPF international system. We have 7 regions in the Asia Pacific, the Americas, Europe, the Middle East, Africa. And each of those regions from time to time can feature relevant program topics and speakers. Then fourthly, we also want to use this webinar forum for featuring partners that could be representatives of intergovernmental organizations, UN officials, officials from various United Nations agencies or councils or commissions, representatives of the African Union, the Arab League, ASEAN, and so on. We could also feature partners representing major interfaith organizations like Religions for Peace or the Kaisid Center in Vienna, the Parliament of the World's Religions, and other major NGOs could be featured in our programming. And fifthly, the series can be used as a way to promote capacity building for our wider UPF family globally, addressing topics from fundraising to strategic planning. So that's just a kind of a brief introduction to the concept. Of course, this has stimulated us to move in this direction, as it has stimulated so many to adjust to the circumstances of this current pandemic and crisis, which has found us all working, practicing social distancing, working from home, working in very socially distanced contexts. And as much as that is a burden and a sacrifice, it's also presenting new opportunities for interacting, convening, and communicating as we are all learning. Of course, there's great suffering and pain. Those who have suffered and died from this pandemic, and those who are ill at present and suffering the consequences, those who are suffering from increased anxiety and pain that manifests in myriad ways, not the least of which is the economic suffering that has been brought about through more or less a global recession. So UPF, like many organizations, issued a statement. We called it Circle of Light, a way of understanding the meaning of a word corona and how we move through and beyond the crisis. And in kind of wrapping up my opening comments, I'll talk about the values and what we might call the values and principles. Our guiding values are threefold. We say interdependence, that we are all interconnected. We have not only a natural ecosystem of the wider environment and natural world, but our entire global sociology is deeply interconnected economically, politically, and we're being very much brought to the forefront is that even issues of healthcare and transmission of disease and how we work together interdependently is extremely important. Secondly is mutual prosperity, that we advocate a world where we are increasingly moving toward shared benefits of all the blessings and conveniences, the technological advances, so that the whole human family is not deeply divided by dramatic differences of wealth across the globe. Thirdly, universal values, that despite our differences along a wide range of ethnic, racial, religious, national, cultural, political, or philosophical divides, there is common ground and there are core universal values that we share, and we should work to emphasize and highlight and affirm those universal values. In the Circle of Light statement, we underscore 4 principles, kind of general principles of best practices that call us to move toward greater unity. Let's try to build bridges. It emphasizes, in addition to unity, dialogue. Let us not cut off from one another. Let us engage in speaking and listening as we're doing. Let's practice mutual respect. In that process of dialogue, it will bring greater enlightenment, enrichment. We will learn from one another by listening. Others will learn from us. So let us keep that principle at play throughout these very difficult and times of great anxiety, and to many a time of great suffering. Cooperation, that we seek, rather than to divide, how do we build bridges to reconcile, to promote peace, so that we can live together in harmony. And compassion is the 4th. So unity, cooperation, dialogue, and compassion. Let us empathize with one another, the members of our families, the members of our communities, our nation, the people of other nations, the people who are different from us, knowing we are all in this situation together. Let us respect one another and love one another. Our panelists today, I think, can elaborate on these points very effectively. I wanted to just offer brief words of introduction, both to the webinar series and to this document, The Circle of Light, which I hope many or most of you have had a chance to review. So with that, I'll conclude and look forward to hearing from our other panelists. Thank you.